He thought he filmed a street fight, until every number on his phone went dead. Chinedu locks the metal grate of his vendor cart, the smell of fried plantain still clinging to his hands. Grease under his nails, shirt collar damp with sweat. Itaewon's neon signs flicker overhead, pink bleeding into blue, bleeding into white, casting long shadows that stretch and retract across cracked pavement. It's past midnight. The crowd has thinned to stumbling tourists and delivery drivers weaving between parked scooters. He pulls his phone out to check the time, thumb smudging the screen, when shouting erupts from across the intersection. Sharp, jagged, tearing through the low hum of traffic. A woman's voice, high and panicked. Words he can't make out, but the terror is universal. Then a man's, low, controlled, each syllable a threat wrapped in calm. Cold fluorescent spill from a convenience store cuts across the scene in harsh angles. Chinedu doesn't look up immediately. In Seoul, invisibility is survival. Eyes down, shoulders hunched, blend into the architecture. But the woman screams again, and something in the pitch makes his spine lock, breath catching in his throat. He glances over, pulse already climbing. A black woman in a torn jacket is backing away from a man in a dark suit, her hands up, palms out, pleading. The man's face is half lit by streetlights, clean-shaven, maybe 50, jaw set like carved stone. Security guards flank him like shadows given form, earpieces glinting. The suited man steps forward, one deliberate stride, weight planted, and strikes her across the face.
Stop, please stop.
The sound cracks through the empty
Doing this
street.
to me.
Her head snaps sideways. Chinedu's thumb is already on the record button. He doesn't think. Muscle memory, instinct, some buried impulse to document the undeniable. Just films, phone angled low at his hip, screen glowing against his thigh. The woman stumbles backward, knees buckling. The guards close in, black suit swallowing her silhouette. The man adjusts his tie, crisp, methodical, as if brushing lint from his sleeve, and walks toward a black sedan idling at the curb. 10 seconds. That's all Chinedu captures before the guards pivot, scanning the street, eyes sweeping past vendor carts and parked cars, and he pockets the phone and walks away, heartbeat pounding in his ears like fists on a door, sweat cold between his shoulder blades. His hands are shaking. Just a drunk fight, he whispers to no one, voice barely audible over the hum of distant engines. Nothing to do with me. But his hands won't stop shaking, fingers curled tight around the phone in his pocket, the metal warm and incriminating. Chinedu walks through the back alleys of Itaewon, boots scraping against wet asphalt, avoiding main roads where streetlights pool too bright and security cameras track movement frame by frame. Every police car, every uniform, every mounted lens is a potential end. One scan, one question, one database match, and everything collapses. He's been undocumented for 3 years, ever since his work visa expired and his daughter was born in a clinic that didn't ask for papers. Returning to Nigeria would mean losing her. Staying means living like smoke, present but untouchable, there but never officially seen. He reaches the church basement by 1 a.m. The smell of incense and mildew greeting him at the stairwell. Dim yellow bulbs casting long shadows across cracked linoleum. Rows of sleeping mats line the floor. 12 families compressed into 200 square feet. Cardboard dividers between spaces. Possessions stacked in plastic bins. His daughter, Amara, is curled under a thin blanket near the radiator, her backpack clutched to her chest like armor. She's 7. She thinks they're on an adventure, camping indoors, waiting for something better that he can't name. Chinedu kneels beside her, knees cracking, and brushes hair from her forehead. Soft, warm, her breath even and trusting. She doesn't stir. He pulls out his phone, volume muted, screen brightness lowered, and watches the video again. The man's face is clear. Too clear. Streetlight catches every feature. Sharp cheekbones, Thin lips, eyes cold even in 10 seconds of footage. The woman's terror is undeniable, her body recoiling, arms raised to shield her face. "Delete it," he whispers, thumb hovering over the trash icon, pressure building behind his eyes. Just delete it. But he doesn't press the button. Can't. Something in the woman's expression, the way she looked around for help that never came, roots him in place, jaw clenched, breathing shallow. Morning comes with sirens, distant at first, then closer, then right outside, the wail cutting through thin walls and thinner sleep. Chinedu wakes to his phone screen frozen, no signal bars, no data icon, no contact list. Just a dead rectangle of glass. He tries restarting it, fingers clumsy with sleep and rising panic. Nothing. The SIM card icon flashes red, then disappears entirely, swallowed by black. Outside, white CCTV vans circle the block, slow, methodical, engines idling. Immigration raids. He's seen them before, sudden, surgical, efficient. Vendors scatter like birds from gunfire. Someone yells in Tagalog, voice cracking with fear. Chinedu grabs Amara's hand, her fingers small and warm in his palm, and pulls her toward the side exit, moving low, keeping to the walls where shadows pool deepest. His phone buzzes once. Impossible, but it does. A single vibration against his thigh. A message from an unknown number, white text on black. "The woman in your video. She's missing. We need to talk." Chinedu stops walking, blood turning to ice water. The vans are still circling, their presence a tightening noose. His phone is dead, but somehow this message came through. Deliberate, targeted, impossible to ignore. He looks at the screen, then at Amara, who's staring up at him with wide, confused eyes, backpack straps twisted around her small shoulders. "Papa, why are we running?" Her voice is small, fragile as glass. "We're not running, baby." The lie scrapes his throat. "We're just walking fast." But his voice cracks, breath hitching, and she knows. Children always know. Hannah Kim meets him at a migrant shelter on the edge of Yongsan, a squat concrete building with barred windows and faded paint peeling in long strips. She's mid-30s, sharp-eyed behind wire-frame glasses, canvas bag slung over one shoulder, NGO badge hanging from her neck on a frayed lanyard, Korean Association for Migrant Rights. She offers him tea in a paper cup, steam curling upward. He doesn't drink it, just wraps his hands around the cup for warmth, fingers trembling slightly. The woman's name is Grace. Hannah's voice is low, controlled, each word measured. She came to us 2 months ago after losing her work permit. Last week she vanished. People vanish all the time. Chinedu's voice is flat, defensive, shoulders hunched inward. Not like this. Hannah leans forward, elbows on the scarred wooden table between them. No phone activity, no transit records. It's like she was erased. She pauses, eyes searching his face, reading the fear he's trying to hide beneath exhaustion. "The man in your video. I think it's Park Jae-ho, National Assembly member. He chairs the Immigration Committee." Chinedu's stomach drops, acid rising in his throat. His hands tighten around the cup until the paper crinkles. "Then I can't help you." The words come out too fast, panic leaking through. "You already did." Hannah's voice softens but doesn't yield. That video is the only proof she existed. For the first time in days, Chinedu feels less alone. Not safe, but witnessed. Hannah doesn't flinch at his fear, doesn't demand, doesn't judge. She just waits, hands folded on the table, patient as stone. "If I come forward..." He can't finish the sentence, can't speak the consequences into existence. "You won't, not yet." Hannah slides a piece of paper across the table. Cloud storage login instructions, handwritten. "But I can protect the file, and I can protect you." Warm light filters through dusty windows, softening the angles of her face. She looks tired but determined, a kind of exhaustion that comes from fighting battles you can't win but refuse to abandon. Samuel finds Chinedu outside the shelter 2 hours later, appearing from between parked cars like he was waiting. Like he always knows where to find people who don't want to be found. He's Nigerian too, been in Seoul for a decade, speaks perfect Korean with a Busan accent, knows every official who looks the other way for the right price. He runs a phone repair stall in Itaewon, but everyone knows his real business is information. Buying it, selling it, trading it for survival. You're making noise, brother. Samuel's voice is low, careful, eyes scanning the street. I'm not making anything. Chinedu's jaw clenches, defensive. Then why are immigration officers asking about a vendor with a 7-year-old daughter? Samuel steps closer, close enough that Chinedu can smell cigarette smoke on his jacket. Why are they showing your picture at Hanam Elementary? Chinedu's blood goes cold, every muscle locking. Amara's school. They know her school. They know her face, her name, her schedule. Whatever you recorded, whatever you think you're doing with that NGO woman, stop, delete it, forget you saw anything. And if I don't? The question comes out sharper than intended, fear masquerading as defiance. Samuel's expression hardens, lines deepening around his mouth. He steps even closer, voice dropping to barely a whisper, breath warm against Chinedu's ear. Then your daughter goes into the system while you're on a plane. She becomes a ward of the state. You think they'll let you come back for her? The words land like blows to the ribs. Precise, devastating, impossible to block. Chinedu's hands curl into fists at his sides, knuckles white, but there's nowhere to direct the rage. Samuel isn't the enemy. He's just the messenger, the translator of consequences. I'm trying to help you, man. Samuel's hand lands on Chinedu's shoulder, grip firm but not cruel. Stay invisible. That's how we survive. Flickering streetlight casts their shadows long and distorted across cracked pavement. Hannah calls that night, ringtone cutting through the silence of the church basement. Chinedu takes the phone into the bathroom, barely 6 feet square, single fluorescent bulb humming overhead, cracked mirror reflecting his exhaustion. He locks the door, turns the tap, water running to mask his voice from sleeping families just beyond the thin walls. I checked every shelter between here and Incheon. Hannah's voice is tight with frustration. Grace hasn't contacted her family in Ghana. Her last transit card scan was near Gangnam Station, 4 days ago. Maybe she left. Chinedu grips the edge of the sink, porcelain cold under his palms. Went somewhere safe. Her transit history was wiped from the system. Hannah pauses, letting that sink in. Someone with access did that. Someone who doesn't want her found. Silence stretches between them, broken only by running water and the distant hum of the radiator. Chinedu stares at his reflection. Older than 32, lines carved deep around his eyes, shadows underneath that no amount of sleep will erase. If we don't do something, she'll just disappear. Like she was never here. And if we do something, my daughter disappears too. His voice cracks, anger and fear bleeding together. I know what I'm asking. You don't. The words come out harsh, louder than he intends. He lowers his voice. You can go home. You have papers. You're not the one they're hunting. But even as he says it, guilt twists in his chest like a knife between ribs. Grace's face in the video, the terror, the helplessness, the way she looked around for help that never came. He knows that feeling. He lives it every day. Just think about it. Please. She hangs up. Chinedu slides down the bathroom wall, phone clutched to his chest, knees drawn up, forehead pressed against them. Through the door, he can hear Amara's soft snoring, innocent, trusting, unaware that her father is drowning. 3 a.m. Amara is asleep, curled on her side, one hand tucked under her cheek. The church basement is silent except for the hum of the old radiator and someone's wheeze breathing 3 mats over. Chinedu sits cross-legged on his mat, phone glowing in the darkness like a portal to another world, blue light painting his face in harsh angles. He opens the video one last time, thumb hesitating over the play button, then pressing down. The suited man's face fills the screen, clean and composed and powerful. Grace stumbling backward, the slap echoing, security closing in. Chinedu opens a cloud storage app he barely understands, the interface alien and threatening. Hannah walked him through it yesterday, just in case, she'd said, voice careful. He types a password with trembling fingers, saves the file under a random string of numbers. The upload bar inches forward, 10%, pale green against black. This is the moment. Once that file exists somewhere other than his phone, there's no taking it back. No delete button. No pretending it never happened. The powerful don't forgive exposure. Park Jae-ho, if that's really who it is, chairs the immigration committee. One signature and Chinedu ceases to exist in Korea's system. One call and Amara is alone. 25%. His throat is tight, 50%. His hands are shaking, 75%. Sweat beads on his forehead despite the cold. Forgive me, he whispers to the darkness, voice barely audible over the radiator's hum. He doesn't know if he's talking to his daughter or to Grace or to some version of himself that still believed staying quiet was an option. 90%, 95%, 100%. Upload complete. The knock comes 30 seconds later. Not on his door, but somewhere down the hall, the sound of wood splintering under force. Heavy boots, official voices barking rapid Korean. Someone screams, high and terrified. Chinedu grabs Amara and presses his hand gently over her mouth before she can wake fully, before she can make a sound. They stay frozen, his heart hammering, her eyes flying open wide with confusion. Listening to doors opening, people being led away, children crying. The systematic dismantling of invisible lives. The footsteps pass their door. Keep going. Fade down the hallway and out into the night. Chinedu exhales, breath shuddering. Amara's eyes are wide with confusion and fear, her small body trembling against his chest. Papa? Her voice is muffled against his palm. Shh. He removes his hand slowly, fingers still shaking. We're okay, but they're not. The phone screen has gone dark. The file is uploaded. Normal life, whatever fragile version existed before, is officially over. A week passes. Hannah works carefully, quietly, like defusing a bomb in slow motion. She contacts journalists she trusts, the ones who've covered migrant issues before, who won't burn sources for clicks or trade truth for access. She doesn't mention Chinedu's name, doesn't show the video yet, just asks questions. Voice casual, probing for cracks in the facade. Have you heard anything about National Assembly member Park Jae-ho? Any rumors? Off-the-record stuff? The answers come back vague but consistent, whispered over coffee in quiet cafes. Park is ambitious, connected, untouchable. He's positioning himself for a presidential run. His image is spotless, family man, church elder, tough on illegal immigration, but fair, always fair. One journalist sends a different kind of message, text arriving at 2 a.m. Be careful. People who look into Park tend to lose funding, or worse. Hannah sits in her cramped NGO office, surrounded by case files stacked in precarious towers. Missing migrants, denied appeals, deportations. Grace's photo is pinned to the corkboard wall, smiling, hopeful, alive in the moment before she wasn't. 32 others surround it. Faces arranged in neat rows, every one African, every report buried. She picks up her phone, thumb hovering over Chinedu's contact, then types, "We're starting." Slow, no names yet, no response. The message shows as delivered but not read. She doesn't know if he's ignoring her or if his number is dead again, swallowed by the same system that erases people like they were never born. The raids come at 4 a.m. on a Tuesday, sudden as lightning. No warning, just the screech of tires on asphalt and the metallic slam of van doors echoing through Itaewon's alleys like gunshots. White vans with tinted windows and official seals, engines idling, exhaust plumes rising in the cold air. Chinedu wakes to shouting. Korean commands barked through megaphones, distorted and authoritative. People running, children crying, the chaos of animals fleeing fire. He's on his feet before he's fully conscious, moving on instinct and 3 years of rehearsed escape routes, grabbing Amara's backpack, her shoes, her jacket, everything they can't lose. She's still half asleep when he lifts her, her small body limp and warm, head lolling against his shoulder. "Papa, what's happening?" Her voice is thick with sleep, confused. "Just a drill, baby." The lie comes automatically, smooth as glass, like it's school. But his voice betrays him. Too tight, too fast, breath coming in shallow gasps. They exit through the church's side door, the one that leads to the construction site next door, metal latch cold under his palm. Chinedu has mapped every escape route for 3 years, tested them, timed them, memorized the angles where camera coverage gaps. Muscle memory takes over. Behind them, flashlights sweep the basement in systematic arcs. Voices demand papers, threaten detention, promise consequences. He recognizes some of the faces being loaded into vans, hands zip-tied behind backs, heads ducked, bodies compliant with learned helplessness. Marcus from Ghana, who sells phone cases. The Filipino woman who sells flowers outside the subway station. A Bangladeshi man whose name he never learned, but whose eyes he's met 100 times in shared understanding. All gone in minutes. Erased. Chinedu and Amara hide behind a shipping container until dawn, her small body shivering against his chest despite the jacket he wrapped around her twice. When the sirens finally fade, engines receding, megaphones silent, he carries her to a 24-hour convenience store, fluorescent lights harsh after the darkness, and buys her chocolate milk with the last crumpled bills in his pocket. She drinks it slowly, both hands wrapped around the carton, eyes distant. Are we going to be okay? The question is small, childlike, impossible to answer. Chinedu looks at her, really looks at her, memorizing the curve of her cheek, the shape of her eyes. She has her mother's eyes. Her mother, who died giving birth in a clinic that didn't ask questions, who he couldn't save, who made him promise in her last breaths to protect this child no matter what, no matter the cost. Yes. He cups her face in his palm, thumb brushing her cheek. Always. The lie tastes like ash, bitter and final. Samuel appears outside the convenience store like he was waiting, like he always is. Maybe he was. He slides into the plastic chair across from Chinedu without asking, glancing once at Amara, who's drawing on a napkin with a borrowed pen, before focusing on her father. "You look like hell, brother." His voice is flat, matter of fact. "What do you want?" Chinedu's tone is defensive, exhausted. To help. Believe it or not. Samuel pulls out a phone, new, still sealed in plastic wrap, and sets it on the table between them with deliberate care, like placing a chess piece. "Give me the original video, not a copy. The file with the metadata, the timestamp, everything. I have someone who can make your problem disappear." "What someone?" Chinedu's eyes narrow, searching Samuel's face for tells. "Does it matter?" Samuel leans back, arms crossed, expression carefully neutral. "Your face is circulating in police databases. Your daughter's school reported her absent today. They're required to flag that. You have maybe 48 hours before they connect the dots." Chinedu's throat tightens, pulse hammering in his temples. He reaches for Amara's hand under the table, needing to touch her, to confirm she's still real and present. She's drawing intently, tongue poking out in concentration, oblivious. Park doesn't want blood. Samuel's voice drops lower, intimate and conspiratorial. He wants the problem gone. You give me the video, it disappears. He makes sure you're left alone. You get to stay. Amara gets to stay. Chinedu swallows hard, mouth dry. And the woman? What woman? The question hangs there, sharp as a blade. Samuel's face is carefully neutral, but his eyes are hard. Polished stone, no light getting in or out. This is business. Survival. The same calculation Chinedu has made 1,000 times. Stay invisible, stay safe. Let the powerful handle their own dirt. Don't ask questions you don't want answered. You're not a hero, Chinedu. Samuel stands, chair scraping against linoleum. You're a father. Act like it. He slides the phone closer, plastic crinkling, and walks toward the exit without looking back. You have until tomorrow night. After that, I can't help you. Chinedu gives Samuel a copy. Not the original. The cloud backup stays hidden, password protected, encrypted, but a clean duplicate with no trace of where it came from. No digital fingerprints. Samuel doesn't check. Doesn't need to. He takes the thumb drive and disappears into the afternoon crowd, swallowed by the mass of bodies and noise. 2 days later, the raids stop. The vans vanish from Itaewon like they were never there. The convenience store owner, who usually watches Chinedu with suspicion, eyes tracking his movements, hand near the phone, nods at him, even smiles, showing crooked teeth. Amara returns to school. Her teacher doesn't mention the absence, doesn't pull him aside for awkward questions, just hands him a packet of homework and wishes him a good day. Chinedu reopens his vendor cart. The plantains sizzle in hot oil, the familiar smell wrapping around him like comfort. Customers line up, students, office workers, tourists with cameras. The cash flows, paper bills and coins, tangible and real. For the first time in weeks, he sleeps past sunrise. No nightmares, no knocking. Just exhausted, dreamless black. It feels like breathing again, like surfacing after drowning. Hannah texts him at noon. Have you heard anything? I can't reach Grace's contacts anymore. He stares at the message for 5 minutes, thumb hovering over the keyboard. Types a response, I need more time, then deletes it. Types another. I'm sorry, deletes that too. Finally, I'm out, I'm sorry. She doesn't reply. The message shows as read, no response. Just silence that somehow feels like judgment. That night, Chinedu watches Amara do homework at their new spot, a rented room above a laundromat. Tiny, but theirs. Walls thin enough to hear conversations from neighboring units, but thick enough to feel like privacy. She's practicing Korean characters, tongue poking out in concentration, pencil scratching across workbook pages. Safe, present, real. We're okay now, he whispers to the empty air, voice barely audible over the hum of washing machines below. But the words feel hollow, like speaking into a void. He checks his phone obsessively, every 5 minutes, every notification ping. No news about Grace, no news about Park, just silence, which somehow feels worse than the chaos, heavier than fear. The press conference airs on every channel, KBS, MBC, SBS, all the cable news networks running it live with identical framing. Park Jae-ho stands behind a podium, flanked by Korean flags and serious-looking officials in dark suits. His suit is impeccable. Pressed, tailored, expensive. His expression is wounded righteousness, the face of a man unjustly accused, dignified in his defense. These allegations are nothing more than a coordinated smear campaign by organizations that profit from chaos. His voice is steady, controlled, each word enunciated with careful precision. I have devoted my career to protecting Korean families and ensuring our immigration system serves justice. not exploitation. He pauses, letting the cameras capture his sincerity, the slight furrow of his brow, the way his hands grip the podium edges like a man holding steady against unfair winds. I welcome any legitimate investigation. I have nothing to hide. The journalists applaud. Questions are softballs lobbed gently. How do you respond to these baseless claims? What message do you have for your supporters? No one mentions Grace by name. No one shows the video. Chinedu watches from his vendor cart, phone propped against the cash box, screen glowing in the evening dimness. His stomach turns to ice, cold spreading through his chest and limbs. Every word Park speaks feels like a door closing, a lock turning, a cage tightening. 3 hours later, Hannah's NGO loses its primary funding. The announcement is brief, bureaucratic, delivered via email with no explanation. Budget reallocation due to administrative irregularities under review. Hannah calls him 17 times. His phone buzzes and buzzes, her name flashing on screen. He doesn't answer, just watches it ring, guilt and fear paralyzing his thumb. By evening, the news cycle has moved on. Park's approval ratings tick up 2 points. A politician who stands firm against false accusations. Voters love that narrative, the story of power defending itself with dignity. Chinedu tries calling Samuel. The number is disconnected, automated voice stating the line is no longer in service. He tries the backup number Samuel gave him for emergencies. Same result. Dead air. His hands start shaking again. Tremors he can't control. The plantains burn, oil smoking. A customer complains. He doesn't hear them, doesn't register the words, just stares at his phone screen like it holds answers it will never give. The envelope arrives by courier. Official government seal. Return address from Immigration Services. Chinedu's hands shake as he opens it in the laundromat bathroom. Door locked. Amara playing outside with the owner's daughter, their laughter muffled through thin walls. Deportation order, final notice. Black text on white paper, stamped and signed, effective in 72 hours. Violation of Immigration Control Act. Overstayed visa. Unauthorized employment. The language is clinical, bureaucratic, absolute. The kind of prose that reduces lives to infractions, people to case numbers. But it's the second page that makes his vision blur. Words swimming as blood pounds in his temples. Cooperating witness. Samuel Okonkwo. The report is dated 3 days ago. Before Samuel offered him the deal. Before the raids stopped. Before anything felt safe again. Every conversation documented, every location logged. Amara's school, the church basement, the vendor spots, all of it. Every detail meticulously recorded and signed in crisp blue ink. Chinedu's phone buzzes. Unknown number, text arriving in real time as he reads. I'm sorry, brother. They had my sister. What was I supposed to do? Another message follows immediately. This number will be dead in 5 minutes. Don't try to reach me. Chinedu slides down the bathroom wall, tile cold against his back, deportation notice crumpling in his fist. The fluorescent light flickers overhead. Buzz, flash, buzz, casting unstable shadows. Through the door, he can hear Amara laughing, pure and innocent and unaware that in 72 hours, her father will cease to exist in her world, erased as cleanly as Grace was. He thinks about Grace. Wonders if she got a warning before she vanished. Wonders if anyone fought for her, if anyone chose her life over their own safety. I'm sorry, he whispers to the crumpled paper, voice breaking. I'm so sorry, but sorry doesn't change anything. Sorry is just sound, air pushed through vocal cords, meaning nothing when measured against power. Hannah meets him at midnight on the Hangang Bridge, fog rolling off the river in thick clouds, city lights blurred into watercolor streaks through the mist. She looks exhausted. Her NGO dissolved, her reputation shredded in press releases and anonymous emails, her funding gone. Dark circles under her eyes. Hands shoved in jacket pockets against the cold. But she came. That's what matters. Chinedu hands her a folded piece of paper, the creases sharp from being folded and unfolded too many times. Cloud storage login and password written in his careful handwriting. This is... Hannah starts, unfolding it, eyes scanning the text. The original. His voice is flat, drained of inflection. Everything. Metadata, timestamp, location data. Everything Park's lawyers said doesn't exist. Chinedu, if you do this, I'm already gone. He pulls the deportation order from his pocket, unfolds it. 72 hours. Her face falls, features collapsing with understanding. She reaches for his arm, but he steps back, maintaining distance, afraid that touch will break whatever resolve he's managed to build. I need you to promise me something. His voice is steady now. Decision made. When they take me, Amara goes to the church community, not the state, not foster care. She stays with people who know her name. I'll do everything. Promise me. The words come out harder than intended, desperate. I promise. Hannah's voice is thick but certain. He nods. The weight that's been crushing his chest for weeks loosens slightly. Not relief, but acceptance. The physics of sacrifice settling into place. Grace is still out there somewhere. Maybe alive, maybe not. He stares out at the river, fog swallowing the opposite bank, erasing the world beyond 50 feet. But if I vanish without doing this, it's like saying her life doesn't matter, like saying none of our lives matter. Hannah's eyes fill, but she doesn't cry, just holds the paper like it's made of glass, like it might shatter if she grips too hard. What do you want me to tell Amara? Her voice is barely audible over the river's current. When she's older? Chinedu looks out at the fog, at the way it swallows everything, buildings and bridges and futures, leaving only the immediate and uncertain present. Tell her. He pauses, searching for words that won't come easily. Tell her I stayed visible. Just once. The video drops at 3 a.m. on a Thursday. No press release, no warning, no carefully crafted narrative. Just raw footage uploaded simultaneously to every major Korean news platform, social media site, foreign press outlet. A coordinated information bomb with English and Korean subtitles burned directly into the frames. By sunrise, it's trending nationwide. Park Jae-ho. Migrant justice. Where is Grace? Park Jae-ho's face fills screens across the country. Crystal clear, unmistakable, captured in high resolution. Grace stumbling backward, her face twisted in terror. The slap echoing. Security guards closing in like wolves. The black sedan. The disappearance caught in 10 seconds of undeniable footage. Timestamp. 047. Itaewon-dong, Seoul. Date and location confirmed via metadata. The data is ironclad. The video is unedited, verified by 3 independent forensic analysts within hours. The truth is undeniable, compressed into 10 seconds that play on loop across every platform, every screen, every phone. Park's office issues an immediate denial. Statement released at 6 a.m. Deepfake technology. Political sabotage. We will pursue legal action against all parties involved in this coordinated attack. But the internet moves faster than lawyers, faster than spin doctors, faster than carefully managed narratives. Frame-by-frame analysis appears within hours. Geolocation confirmation. Witness accounts flood in. Other migrants who saw similar things, other disappearances, other complaints buried in bureaucratic language and closed case files. By noon, protest organizers are coordinating via encrypted apps. By evening, crowds gather outside the National Assembly. Hundreds, then thousands, holding candles and signs, chanting Grace's name. Chinedu watches it unfold from his vendor cart, One last shift before the end. Plantains sizzling in oil he can barely afford. His phone, a new burner Hannah gave him, streams the news coverage in real time. His hands are steady now, calm. The shaking has stopped. The country is watching. Finally, inevitably, the country is watching. They come for him outside Amara's school at pickup time, 3:15 p.m., sun still high,
Okay, baby
parents
girl,
gathering at the
don't
gates,
cry.
3 immigration officers in pressed uniforms, 2 police escorts, no sirens, no drama, just professional efficiency, choreographed and inevitable. Chinedu is waiting, standing apart from the other parents, back straight, hands visible. He told Hannah where he'd be, told her to bring cameras, to document everything, to make this moment matter. A dozen phones rise as the officers approach. Parents filming, journalists Hannah tipped off, even Amara's teacher standing protectively beside his daughter, one hand on the child's shoulder. The lead officer speaks in Korean, then switches to broken English. Words carefully enunciated. Mr. Chinedu Okafor, you must come with us. I know. His voice is clear, steady, no resistance in it. He kneels in front of Amara, knees touching pavement still warm from afternoon sun. Her eyes are wide, confused, terrified, tears already forming. He cups her face in his hands, palms rough from years of manual labor, fingers gentle. Remember what I told you? About being brave? Papa, don't go. Her voice breaks, small hands clutching at his shirt. Listen to me. He forces his voice steady, forces himself to meet her eyes. You are smart, you are strong, you are loved. And one day you'll understand why I had to do this. I don't want to understand. She's crying fully now, face crumpling. I want you to stay. His heart shatters, clean break, irreparable, but he stands anyway, slowly, deliberately. Holds out his wrists to the officers. The handcuffs click into place, metal cold against his skin, weight familiar somehow, expected. Every phone captures it, every angle. Every tear on his daughter's face and every moment of his surrender documented in high definition. This time, Chinedu is not invisible. This time, he is seen. Fully, completely, undeniably seen. The officers lead him to the van, hands firm but not cruel. He doesn't resist, doesn't speak. Just looks back once at Amara, who's crying into Hannah's shoulder, small body shaking with sobs. The van door closes, the lock engages, and Chinedu disappears into the system he spent 3 years avoiding. Grace surfaces 4 days later in Busan, 200 miles south, in a women's shelter tucked behind a fish market. A shelter worker recognizes her from the viral video, the face playing on loop across every news channel, and calls Hannah immediately, voice shaking with urgency. She's alive, traumatized, terrified, but alive. Her testimony comes in fragments, disjointed, halting, punctuated by long silences and trembling hands. The assault, the threats whispered in her ear, being held in a warehouse by the docks, concrete floors and locked doors, escaping through a bathroom window during a shift change, hiding in churches and shelters for weeks, too scared to use her real name, too scared to exist. The interview airs that night, cameras tight on her face, lighting soft but unforgiving. Her voice shakes but doesn't break. I thought no one would believe me. I thought I was already erased. She corroborates everything. The date matches Chinedu's video timestamp perfectly. The location, Itaewon, near the convenience store. Park's face, I'll never forget it. The violence, her hand unconsciously touching her cheek where the blow landed. Someone filmed it. Grace's eyes fill, tears tracking down her cheeks. Someone risked everything to make sure people knew what happened to me. I don't know who they are, but her voice breaks. Thank you. In the detention center, Chinedu watches on a communal TV mounted high on the wall, surrounded by other detainees in identical gray uniforms. Someone translates the Korean for him. Whispered explanations, shared understanding. When Grace says thank you, his eyes close, breath releasing in a long exhale he didn't know he was holding. He's not alone anymore. The thought settles in his chest, warm, unexpected, something close to peace. The protests grow exponentially. Thousands in Seoul camping outside the National Assembly with tents and banners. Hundreds in Busan, Daegu, Gwangju. Coordinated demonstrations spreading like wildfire. Candlelight vigils. Demands for accountability written in Korean and English and Arabic and Tagalog. International human rights organizations issue statements. The UN Special Rapporteur requests investigation access. Park Jae-ho is suspended pending investigation, his office sealed, his staff scattered. His presidential ambitions crumble overnight. Endorsements withdrawn, donations frozen, allies distancing themselves with carefully worded statements. 3 other officials resign within 48 hours. Immigration policy review committees are formed. Emergency sessions convened. Hannah's NGO is reinstated with triple the funding. Anonymous donors, corporate sponsors, government grants that materialize overnight. She hires 2 new lawyers specifically for deportation defense, rents a larger office, prints new business cards. The system cracks. Not broken, not yet, but cracked. Light getting in through fractures. The immigration officer slides 2 papers across the metal table, documents perfectly aligned. Chinedu's hands are no longer cuffed, but he's not free. Gray uniform, monitored room, camera in the corner recording everything. Option 1, voluntary departure. The officer's voice is flat, bureaucratic, reading from a script. You sign, you leave tomorrow. No detention record. Clean exit. He taps the first document with his pen. Option 2, you wait for appeal process. Could be months, could be years. You stay here. He taps the second document. And my daughter? Chinedu's voice is hoarse from disuse. Church community has temporary guardianship. If appeal succeeds, reunification possible. If not, the officer trails off, doesn't finish, doesn't need to. Freedom or presence. But not both. The choice laid out in triplicate forms and official stamps. 6 months later, Lagos, Nigeria. Heat presses down like a physical weight, humid and relentless. Chinedu works construction, carrying blocks, mixing cement, hauling rebar under the equatorial sun. His hands are more calloused now. His body aches in new places. But he's free, technically, legally, on paper. He sends every spare dollar to the church community for Amara's care. Wire transfers logged and receipted, proof of presence even in absence. Hannah video calls him weekly, screen pixelating with poor connection, audio lagging. Today, she turns the phone to show him something. Camera panning across a legislative hearing room, high ceilings and formal seating. It's Grace testifying before the National Assembly, voice steady now, amplified through microphones. Behind her, projected on a massive screen, is a photo, not of Park, but of Chinedu, the vendor who filmed, the father who chose truth. His face 10 feet tall, name spelled out in Korean and English. They're calling it the Protection of Vulnerable Witnesses Act. Hannah's voice comes through tinny, delayed. Because of you. Because you stayed visible. The camera shows Amara in the hearing room gallery, 8 years old now, wearing a school uniform, white shirt, navy skirt, backpack at her feet. Hannah sits beside her, hand resting on the child's shoulder. They're watching Grace speak. They're watching Chinedu's story become law, compressed into legislative language and binding precedent. Later, on a separate call, Amara's face fills his screen. Older, more serious, eyes still her mother's. Papa, they showed your picture at school. Her voice is proud, shy. My teacher said you were brave. You're the brave one, baby. Chinedu's throat tightens, words coming difficult. Every day you wake up and keep going. That's the real courage. When can you come home? The question she asks every week, voice smaller each time, hope eroding. The question hangs there, suspended in satellite delay and impossible distance. Hannah is working on it. Lawyers, appeals, new immigration pathways opened by the legislation bearing his name. But there are no guarantees, no timelines, just paperwork and patience and probability. I don't know. The truth tastes bitter. But I'm still here. And you're still there. And that's enough for now. It's not enough. But it's what they have. Connection threaded through fiber optic cables. Love compressed into data packets. Presence reduced to pixels. He hangs up and walks to the window. Lagos spreads below. Chaotic, alive, traffic and vendors and construction noise. Home and not home simultaneously. Somewhere across an ocean, his daughter is growing up without him, learning to write Korean characters, making friends whose fathers pick them up from school. But she knows his name, knows what he did, knows he chose her safety over his presence, chose truth over invisibility, chose to be seen just once when it mattered most. The video still circulates, shared and reshared, referenced in academic papers and advocacy campaigns. Grace still speaks. At conferences and universities, her testimony entered into official record. And Chinedu, invisible for so long, left something permanent behind. A witness, a warning, a refusal to vanish quietly into the machinery that erases inconvenient people. He disappeared so the truth could stay,